Hi, my name's Steve, and tonight I'm going to show you how to remove a crank from an indoor spinning bike. Most indoor spinning bikes use square taper bottom brackets in the frame, and the cranks have a square tapered hole in them, and they press on to the bottom bracket spindle. The tools that you're going to need for this job are a crank removal tool. There are many different brands, but we recommend Park, a very good quality tool. And their tool that you can get is a CCP-22. It's very well known throughout the industry. You also need a socket, 14 or 15 millimeter socket, okay? And that is so you can get the bolt out of the middle of the crank. And the last thing, which never hurt anything, is a little bit of lubricant. In order to remove a crank, the first thing that we want to do is spray a little bit of lubricant around the nut that you're going to remove. Once you do that, you can tap it with a wrench just lightly, make sure that the lubricant gets down into the threads, and take a 14 or 15 millimeter socket, put it on the nut, and remove it from your bike. Once you have the nut out of your crank, then we can begin the removal process. First, you're going to separate the two parts of the Park crank removal tool. I always recommend this, especially if you've never done it before. It prevents a lot of problems. Once you've separated these two parts, okay, you have a handle and you have a nut. Take the nut and hand thread it into the crank as far as you can. And then take your adjustable wrench and just cinch it up a little bit. Once this nut is securely into the center of your crank, take the blue handle and put it back into the nut. You can turn it on there easily by hand. Turn the blue handle, keep turning it until it gets tight. Once it gets tight, grab the crank, turn the blue handle, and it will push your crank off the spindle, and then you will have removed it. Now your crank removal tool is now stuck into your crank arm. You want to take your adjustable wrench, loosen the nut in the middle, and unscrew it by hand. And you have removed your crank from your bike.